We've got a Wells Fargo shotgun that we actually put in here and display on festival day. Him and his wife Becky dated in this car, and they've had it ever since.
Really?
Yep.
How about that?
Yep.
Hey guys, I'm here at Hart Square Village in Val, North Carolina, and I'm with Brett Weatherman, and he invited me to come document the village here that Dr. Hart started back in the early 70s, or maybe before that.
Yep.
And we're gonna go look at over 100 structures on this tour here, so we're not gonna go in all the buildings. We don't have time, but I hope to come back on many different visits throughout the summer, and then back in October when they have their main event where everybody can come if you've got a ticket. You're going to want to get online and get a ticket if you want to come to this, because you can't wait till October and decide to come. So let's go take a look at all these old buildings.
Let's do it. Right here is our apple orchard, and right next to the apple orchard, this is the last cabin that Bob and myself and two others moved and put back here on site. A little small storage shed, like a corn crib kind. And this is a original slaves cabin. Not sure of the period and when Bob moved it, but that's demonstrating the slave belongings inside. We've got a spring house. You would dip the water out of the well and dump it into the spring house. You do that several times a day to keep your milk and all at, you know, a good temperature. And this is our Teague cabin. It's a 2-story, and it's also got a summer kitchen in the basement. It's down below grade. That's the only cabin that we've got that has a basement style summer kitchen. We've got a lot of butter turns on display in that cabin. That's kind of its all of its stuff it's got. Here we've got a cotton press, and this cotton press is not original. They built it here on site. Tommy Tucker is well-known master craftsman. He built it. The screw part was made out of a solid chunk of tree trunk, and they carved it all with chainsaws, and the nut part is those 4 logs banded together. But pretty much we hook a mule up to one of the chains, and we'll raise it up, start loading cotton from the other side. Let's go over here and we can kind of show where we load the cotton at. And then when you get it full, then you would turn the mule around and put the chain on the breastplate of the mule, and it would start pulling the cotton press around, and then we'd start compacting it after that. And it was all built here on site. I think they had to bring in a crane to set it up, put some parts together. Still operates to this day. We use it on festival day and make a bale of cotton. I'm thinking they said a bale of cotton weighs about 500 pounds off of this one. Right behind us here, we've got the cotton gin, and this cotton gin is, so Bob's wife is Becky, not sure of her maiden name. She was from South Carolina, and Bob was looking to build a cotton gin here on the property. So he flew over, I think this is the second one still remaining in the US. So he flew and saw the other one, got some plans together, and he was telling his father-in-law one day over lunch, and he said, well, heck, why don't you just take the family cotton gin and move it down? And he didn't even know that the family had a cotton gin. So he went out back and looked at it, and this is come from Bob's wife Becky's family in South Carolina. And I'm not sure what part, but it come from South Carolina.
So there's an upstairs part?
There's upstairs.
I don't know what a cotton gin is. I'm not
You'll go up there and check it out?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm curious to see what it's about.
I'm not sure of all the terminology.
I'm sure I know none of it, so first one I've ever seen.
Okay, so right here while we're down here, so we'd have a mule hook up to opposite ends and they would start powering it, and they'd make it go. After it starts going, it's fairly easily gone. And there's a set of cotton scales, big set of cotton scales there. And that's what would power it. Now let's go upstairs and we'll put all this together. Okay. So here is the cotton gin. So right here is the one that's in operation, but right here is a display. It might be a little bit easier to see. From these little saws, I believe it's called, have little teeth on it, and that's what grabs the cotton lint and it takes it, and this brush is also spinning and gets the cotton lint off of it. Well, the seed gets, trying to find let's go over here to this one right here, and you can see the fingers on it that separate the seed from the.
So you actually use this one?
Yeah, that's the only time a year that we operate it. So right here is the big pulley from downstairs. See the belt coming through here? Comes, and right here is where it hooks to this cotton gin. Okay, so you can see the saws, and I'm gonna call them the fingers. I'm not sure what the terminology is, but your seed would drop down into this chute, and there's all your seed, your cotton seed. The cotton would fall down in a room right below us, the cotton room, and that's where you'd gather it, put it in like little bales, baskets, and take it to the cotton press, and that's where you would press it.
So there been quite a bit of cotton grown in North Carolina area?
Yes, I'm not sure exactly where we're at. It seems like maybe the east. There is some that's been grown in this local area. I see a couple cotton fields in this area. Over at the pond, this is a replica of the covered bridge built by Tommy Tucker. They built it on site on the dam, had 2 cranes come in and set it in place after it was constructed. We've got to get a new roof put on it soon. Cedar shake shingles are very expensive. There's an original canoe. That's pretty cool. It looks like a hand-dug canoe. I'm not sure what year. I don't see no tag on it. Oh, here it is. Coastal Carolina Cypress dugout canoe, 18th century.
All right, now I got a better idea of what this does up here. I didn't really, so this is all about cotton industry.
Yep. And there's a cotton bale. Let's see. This 500 bale was made here at Hart Square using the Tucker press with mule power. Probably the first bale pressed using this method in over 100 years. Huh. So that's what the press would make.
This looks like a replica maybe of this building here.
Yep, I believe it is. Yep.
So is all the structures on the property got stuff like this in them mostly?
Yeah, most of them's got some kind of craft in them, whether it's some kind of lace making, violin repair, quilting, cooking. Each cabin has a craft in it.
Okay. All right.
So here's our wheelwright shop. We've got some of our stretchers. This is a wheel, and what they would do is they would heat this up in a fire, and metal expands, so it expand enough that when they went to set it onto actually what called the tire, this is the tire, they would then take water, put around the band, and it would contract it. And then it would tighten up on the bands. You'd take cameras and try to get it set. we'll open the door up and I'll show you. But we've got a bunch of just tools, different wagon parts, kind of like you would see typical day wagon shop.
Wagon repair shop.
Yep, this is a wagon. This is the wheelwright shop where you'd bring your wagons.
Building number 57.
Scott Beam and Jimmy Freeze and a few others on festival day set up and actually show how to replace the felloes, the tire, and the tire is the metal part. The fellows, can't remember what this is called, but anyway, they reconstruct wagon wheels. And actually, I brought a few of my family's wagon wheels and that needed repaired, and Scott rebuilt them here on site on festival day a few years ago. We've got a few anvils, different kinds of anvils. I'm not sure of all the names of these different styles. This here is the hub, and to start the hub, they would use these drills, like a drill bit, and start hollowing the hole out for the axle hub. And see how this is tapered, and that's what you would end up with to go onto the wagon axle shaft. And let's see here if I can find one right off. I don't believe I can. But you've got a lot of tools in here from that period. Bob was actually, I believe, in Granite Falls, which is 25 minutes away from here. One day somebody called him and said there's a wagon repair shop, wagon wheel repair shop up there. You know, come and look at it about buying some of the stuff. And he gets up there and all the tooling had been taken out, but what was left was the felloes and all the wooden pieces and all of the hubs. And Bob thought that was better than finding some of the tooling. You can buy the tools at the flea markets, but you can't find the wagon tires and such as often. So he enjoyed finding that. We've got a lot of wagon hoops for the covered wagons. A frame, there's actually a frame up here for a wagon. So, yep.
So this is their...
this is where you forge, yep. This is where you'd build your fire. And you'd set your, whatever part you're forging in here. And this is fell. I don't know why that fell. Anyway, this bellows would be sitting here, and you would pump the bellows, forcing air through and making your fire hotter. Here's some of the tooling. You got different kinds of tools to make the on the end of the tires. This piece here, you would make a hole on the end, and that's what would go into the rim. Just a lot of tools, different kinds of tools that you'd need in a repair shop. Here's an old grease bucket to grease the wheels. That'd be some kind of axle grease of some sort, like hog grease, fat, and it would ride on the side of the wagon, and that's what you'd stop and grease your hubs so you could keep on going.
So that's interesting. That's the first time I've ever seen a wagon wheel shop.
Yep. Now some of these tools were metal axle gauge. You'd set, this is kind of like aligning your car, your front end on your car. This is kind of some of the tools that you'd use to help out with that. On festival day, we've got those men that sit out here and demonstrate, and they really can tell you about different things and do a good job at that. But that's about it for this one.
Very interesting. Very detailed. Yep. Looks just like it probably did in the original time that it was open.
Yep. Here we're at the Hart Square jail. You've got, notice the pole here with the ring on it. I think they'd put you out here on display if you did something bad as a public embarrassment, was part of that. But we'll go inside. And these jail cell bars are actually out of the Catawba County Jail, and somehow Bob ended up with them. So they actually work. We've got the keys to them. There's the old ball and chain that you hear about. Let's see here. Here's some of the handcuffs that they would use. Shackle, like a leg shackle. They put that. Go around the fence here, and there's a few more different styles. Handcuffs. Your sheriff or his deputy would stay upstairs. But here's some of those different style handcuffs or leg shackles. You got your safe where you keep your important documents and stuff in there. And some of the badges. There's some of the deputy badges, the key ring. Let's see. And here's the famous wanted sign, poster. Wanted Doc Hart. So
during the festival, you have somebody dressed up as deputies and sheriffs?
Yeah, we've
here?
got, and one of the Catawba County Sheriff's deputies, or he was actually the sheriff, he comes and reenacts on festival day. And then we've got a town drunk, if you want to call it, that starts out at the moonshine still, and a couple of deputies bring him up through the crowd, and he's putting on a show, you know, don't want to go to jail and all this, so they bring him in here and put him up in the jail and shut the jail. So that's pretty cool to see.
Well, how about that?
Yep. We try to make it as realistic as possible.
This kind of, did you ever go to Ghost Town in the Sky?
I never did.
They'd put on, gun fights, you know, but
yeah.
This wasn't nowhere near detailed like this.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, let's see what's next. I want to show you this mule or dog, or let me see what it says here before I go telling about it. Let me look at it. Animal treadmill. It was your animal would walk on this treadmill, and then it would power the butter churn or whatever you'd have, and it's pretty much free labor. And it was patented in 1881.
How about that?
It says used to power churns, small washing machines by dog, cats, or other small animals. It's pretty cool.
Wonder how they got them to stay in there though.
I
to do
don't
that.
know. Probably hung a carrot in front of its mouth.
So this
here is a corn shuck mop. And we've actually got one around here somewhere that actually has the corn shucks in it. But you'd put your corn husk through here, pull them through, and this is what you'd use to mop your floors in the house. I'm thinking it's in the slaves, or in the tavern. Let's see here, what else? Yeah.
got what's these machines over here for? What's these do?
I'm not sure. There's a pea sheller. It's probably some kind of sheller. It would grade different kinds of, say, peas. I'm not sure about that one, but that one says pea sheller, 1890. And a fanning mill. This was used to blow the chaff from the seed. So.
This must be different blades that went through on different implements that they used. Farming equipment.
Oh yeah, yep, for cultivating. Yep.
So another building full of stuff. You got
yeah.
there's you've been here 8 years and there's so much stuff you don't know at all, do you?
Yeah. And it's something that you I didn't ever see that. You know, I'm learning something new all the time.
So what's this machine they got out here?
Let's see what year this is. Oh, the tag. 1800's thrashing machine. The tag is about kind of gone, but yep. That was probably pulled by steam powered or either, yeah, I would say more or less steam powered on this. And I would think this is about the only machine that we've got here that is actually driven by steam or some kind of engine power.
So this building comes all the way back around here.
Yep.
Was just then.
Yep. Here's a cabin. Let's go in here. This is the Dietz cabin. Notice it's got 2 front doors, and the left door is what takes you upstairs, and the right door takes you into the living room. So if you wanted to go up, you had to come outside the house and then walk out on the front porch and go out, go upstairs. The kitchen is a summer kitchen, and it's located on the back through a breezeway. So that would take you into the living room. We also do violin repairs in this cabin on festival day. It's kind of set up for that. You can't really see, it's kind of dark right here. Let's see. Got a neat piece of furniture here. Makes a bench. Cannot remember the name of it, but it makes a bench. If you have extra company coming over, you can pull it out, set this down, put pegs through it, it makes a table. It's a pretty neat piece. There's a couple. Bob loved corner cupboards. That's kind of a small one, but there is probably 30 different corner cupboards. There's a nice big one over in the corner. But that was his thing. He liked corner cupboards. We'll go out the back door here and we'll go into the kitchen. This kitchen's really nice piece. There's a tricycle, kid's tricycle. That's an old piece. You can see how big the hearth is. It'll heat this place up pretty good. And the reason why they did a separate kitchen is the threat of fire, and also heat in the summertime. You didn't want all the heat in the house. And then if a fire broke out in the kitchen, it would kind of keep it separate from the cabin so you wouldn't burn down everything you had. Here's some sugar. Here's a sugar, it's like a sugar chest drawer. It locks, and you would put your sugar cones down in here, lock it. Sugar was so expensive back in the day that it was hard to come by, and this is sugar loppers. You would take these and would nip off your sugar nippers. You'd nip the sugar off and sell it, or use it for baking. Here is a cherry pitter. These here are cherry pitters, different style. This one here, you put all your cherries down in. This is a very old handmade one, and you'd push it down and push the pit off the bottom. And there's a small one, a little small cherry pitter. That's about it in this one.
I see a lot of the jugs here, so is that something you think it was made here over the years?
It possibly could be. I'd have to look at them and see.
So yeah, this is interesting. I like this one.
Yep. It's this is one of my favorite cabins. Okay, let's try to, we can go upstairs real quick, check it out. So you've got several beds. Got a big crib. You could probably put 5 or 6 kids in that one crib. Got a little carriage here. Now this piece here is, it got cold at night, so they would take this rock piece and put it in the fireplace, get it really warm, put it inside this and stick it in the underneath your sheets. That'd keep your toes warm as a bed warmer. Got a child's potty there. Let's step over to the next room and see what's in here. Just another bed. Yep.
So this one like this would have took a while to take apart.
Oh yeah.
With all the interior
Yep.
wood and 2 stories.
And that's the thing about it. Bob did all the work himself. People thinking, oh, he's a doctor. He hired a bunch of people to do it. That's not the case. He did hire some people and had some help, but for the most part, he did everything himself. You know, he had a brick mason do some chimneys and that kind of thing. But the rock chimneys, he did himself. And there is some massive chimneys here. Some of the chimneys are, you know, 6, 7 foot wide, 2 or 3 foot deep. So it took a lot of work to put those up.
What's the chain for coming into the barrel?
That's just to direct your water off the gutter down into the drum, the barrel. And that water you would use to water your, you know, animals, flowers, your vegetables and stuff, fire at the house. So, you know, just whatever you needed water for, rainwater. Okay, let's go.
Let's see what the side of it looks
Okay,
like. I
yeah.
saw there was a side porch of that kitchen looked like.
Yep. And that's our apple press is on the back of it. That's what we use on during our school field trips and festival days to demonstrate squeezing apples. So that's what that's for.
Oh boy, there's a big crock there. Ain't
Yep.
there?
We've got a 50-gallon crock down there in the spring house.
Really?
Yeah, it's really big and heavy. Okay, here's our Stroop cabin. It's a 2-story cabin. It's got a summer kitchen attached to the back side. It's actually separate from the cabin. Got a wood shed. That massive chimney.
Dr. Hart laid that rock?
Yeah, probably so, yep. He did most of it. Here on our left, we've got a trapper's cabin. It's got a lot of big traps, bear traps, some really, really big bear traps, different furs and hides of different kind of animals, skinning knives and that kind of thing in there. This here is our beehive oven, and we demonstrate on festival day making cornbread in it. Now this is one of our, well, a couple of these cabins. Punch Sight's cabin, it needs some seal log repair on the back side. That cabin is set up with a quilting loom in it, and they actually, on festival day, there's a lot of ladies that dress up and actually quilt, and when they get the quilt done, we end up selling it at the festival. Might take a year or two for it to actually get done, but we're looking to get some repairs done on it. Here's the Barger cabin. It's got a lot of the same stuff in it as well, different kinds of weaving, different things like that. Actually, shoe repair in it as well, like a Cooper's bench in there. Here is a saddle repair shop, any kind of leather work in that one. Cooper's shop, that's where you'd make your wooden barrels and drums. And then your steam bending shop. We would put a fire in there, steam bend. We could make all kinds of, any kind of wood that you needed bent in whatever shape. We could heat it up and bend it in that. So this is our Hull dog trot cabin, and a dog trot cabin is two separate log structures with a breezeway connected through the middle of it. Let me pull up here a little bit more and you can see the breezeway, how it is. We've got a moonshine still where the tin roof is. That's actually a period correct moonshine still, and the family that donated it comes and operates it on festival day. There's our grist mill. You can see the water wheel on the back side. When our pond is full of water, we open a valve up and the water comes and turns the wheel and makes the grist mill big stone wheel inside operate. This cabin right in front of us is the Dellinger Cahill house, and it is a fully functional cabin. It's got heat and air, kitchen, refrigerator, bathtub, probably 5 beds inside. So when we have guests that need a place to stay, we usually put them in the Cahill house. Here is our armory. This is where your gun smithing would take place. We've got some of the pieces in there that would make the octagon shaped on the gun barrels, the rifling, and that. It's got all kinds of gun parts in there. No guns are stored in. We take the guns out during the year, but we do on festival day set up, and there might be 40 or 50 kind of flintlock guns on display and demonstrating those. Got a little pigsty, little pig cabin there. Here's our arbor set up on the set bands up on the stage, and people come and eat on festival day. Got a
What was this big thing for you for?
big cauldron. Some of the cauldrons were made to boil salt down. We actually do that. If you can see that one over there with the lid on it, that's our salt kettle. We have a guy out of Virginia that comes and actually makes salt for us. And this one here, maybe you'd skin a hog, or hog skinning day, you'd do that. You know, you needed, kids needed a bath or whatever you needed to put in it. Okay, here's a neat piece. Let's show this. Let's look at this trough. This is a cypress meat trough. Tree has over 300 rings and is probably 200 years old. It was grown around the 1600s. So you can look at the ring on it there and see that. We've got another trough, meat trough, over next to the pottery shed, about the same size.
You call it a meat trough?
Yeah, you'd put your meat with salt, and then you'd salt it down.
Okay.
Put it in a smokehouse after that. Here's a canoe, dugout canoe, 1800s, made from a single tree. It's got a couple different things in here on display.
I guess maybe people sitting here and eat too, maybe?
Yeah, yep. We usually we set up buffet dinner after the festival. All our volunteers are fed, barbecue dinner, and we have this as our buffet line, and
okay.
Then they go and sit wherever else.
I like how it's there's no pavement or nothing in here.
Yep. So here is a rock out of a grist mill, right there and right over here. And I'll pull up here and you can kind of see the rings on it, the grooves. And that's what does your grinding in the inside of our grist mill.
Wow, I bet that's heavy to move.
Oh yeah.
Have you moved it?
Yeah, we moved 2 of them, and I couldn't pick that one up. It was so heavy with that new Kubota tractor. We got 2 of the smaller ones and moved over to the education center. St. Mark's Church here. We've got our tavern. is right here. I don't know if you want to step out. It's a 2-story. It's got a big cooking fireplace. We do a lot of cooking demonstrations in that particular cabin. As you see, we can got some scaffolding set up. We're going to try to do some repairs on the back window. We got this is our pit saw. There's a big pit, probably about 6 foot down inside the ground. And you would take one of these style saws. There's a good demonstration hanging up on the wall. We've got a better one that we keep in storage, but that's a good demonstration. And they would sit up here, one person down inside the pit, and he would pull down on the saw while the person on the top took a wedge and wedged in between to keep the saw from binding up. And he was called the top notch, and the person on the bottom was called in the pits. That's where the terminology came from. In the life of the pits, well, that's where it come from, so I've been told.
So yeah, I'd say you'd get a lot of sawdust on you down there.
Yeah, yeah. Got a lot of grinding stones. He loved collecting his grinding stones, so we've got a display of those as well. Now here's demonstrating after you'd saw your lumber, you'd saw it green and you would stack it up here. This is the drying rack. When you'd split cedar, you would rack it up in racks like that for it to cure and also to keep it from rotting as bad. Now right here we've got a blacksmith shop. Inside is set up. We've got a shoe repair shop, and a chair repair shop. And that's all your cane repaired shops, and our broom factory is right there where we repair brooms. This is the first original cabin that Bob moved here on the site. Hunsucker cabin. We make we make soap here, lye soap, and also demonstrate clothes washing. And we've got a gold panning trough turned upside down. Here is a millinery shop. Horsehair, that's where your women would go shopping. They'd get wigs and whatever. Of course, we saw the general store earlier today. Let's ride up here and we'll come back around and I'll show you the print shop and the woodworking shop. Here's our schoolhouse. It's got 2 doors. Left is for the girls to enter and the right is for the boys. And they went in those doors and come out those doors. We've got a big granary, Walker granary right here. They actually moved this in one piece down the road with a trailer. They backed the trailer up underneath of it, moved it all the way here, got it all the way down Highway 10, coming through the back roads, and we couldn't make it, or Bob couldn't make it through the gate at the main entrance. So they ended up having to take the gate down, the post down, to get it through the gate to where it stands now. Got a tobacco barn. Got a little corn crib right here. Put your corn in there to let it dry. So here's our print shop. It actually has a printing press inside, and he was in the process of building this cabin, didn't know what he was going to use it for, and Bob's wife Becky worked for the Catawba County Historical Association, and they had a person wanted to donate a printing press, and they didn't have nowhere to put it. And Bob said, well, I'll take it. So he hadn't built the chimney on the back side, and that was the only way he could get the press in, was by the hole that the chimney was getting ready to be covered up. So we finally got it inside, and we use it as well. It's fully operational. Here we got a wood right shop, woodworking equipment inside, a lot of your 1800's hand woodworking tools, saws, chisels, you know, just anything you needed, planes, just whatever you needed to do any kind of woodworking. Another little double corn crib barn right there. We split oak shingles right here for demonstration. We start out with a big round log and split those by hand. So this is our tinsmith shop. They would make your tin cups, tin pans, just lanterns, whatever you needed to make tin out of. Firehouse. We got some different kind of firefighting equipment in there. It's just mainly the basic setup inside. There's a lady that demonstrates how to cut up cabbage to make sauerkraut on festival day on the front porch. That's pretty neat. Doctor's office right here. Got a lot of period correct doctor's equipment in there. Got a smokehouse right there. Now this is a spring house, or not a spring house, a root cellar. And the insulation for the door is straw layered in between. That was what they used for their insulation. And they got a lot of canned items on the side over here. Different things like that. Kind of needs to be straightened up a little bit. Looks like our fake pumpkins are showing they're fake.
So that kept it down cooler.
Yeah,
down in the ground.
I think it's 55 degrees is what it kind of, what they say for a spring, or for a root cellar. Now our pond, we just got it fixed last week. The main drain line was getting repaired, so our pond level is down a lot. But this is our fishing shack, and we've got this little raft. When the pond level's up, we've got this little raft that you actually pull yourself across and go over to the fishing shack, and it's got a little wood stove. You can go fishing off the front of it. And I brought my girls over and we fished one day and we had a blast. But the pond level should be coming up, I hope, in the next few weeks. It just takes time. It's just creek fed, so.
Now, did they cut those trees originally, put the pond in?
Yeah. Bob had a friend that had a local grading outfit, and in the wintertime, when time was slow for his grading business, Bob asked him if he'd come over and do some grading work. He wanted to put in some ponds, wanted to put in a landing strip up on the upper part of the property. And so the deal was the guy told him, said, if you'll pay for my men and my diesel fuel, he said, I'll come over and do it at cost, just to keep my men a job and they wouldn't leave me. So Bob got a lot of work done that way. And the guy was just as tickled to death with that. But yeah, they just went in and cut the treetops off and left them sitting where they are. Here is our amphitheater. We do some singings and different things down here. We're going down to the Indian village now. Got a little cabin and got a little poplar bark cut. We need to redo the roof on it. But we demonstrate different, got airheads. We have a guy that actually sets up and shows how to make fire with, like a wood and like a bow with rocks and that kind of thing.
What would they use this building for?
This is what their house would be. We it's in bad looking shape right now, but we kind of rebuilt it last year. And we actually tore one down to salvage the bark off of one. But it needs, the poplar bark is very expensive. So it just cost a lot of money to get it fixed. I think we got quoted $11,000 just for the bark to put that back. So
$11,000.
that's what we got quoted.
Did you tell me you didn't want the whole tree, just the bark?
That's what we should have said. So yeah, so we're gonna try something else.
I never thought of bark costing that much. What did they use it for?
Well, up in our mountain communities, they use it as siding on a lot of the nicer homes, and so it's in high demand. And you can only get that poplar bark when the sap is rising in the springtime. So there's only a short window that you can harvest the bark. And so I guess we need to go cut a poplar tree down ourselves and harvest our own bark, sounds like. Here is our, I call it the Boy Scout hut. I'm not sure exactly what the name of it is, but it's kind of, we've got a few things inside, but we mainly, our Boy Scouts, when they come, they can stay in it.
They stay overnight, the Boy Scouts do?
Yep, they have, yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We'll go down here to the stockade. So the stockade has a lot of locust post pillars around it, and that was to keep out unwanted people. See how they're sharpened at the top? They've got little small stands on the inside where you can stand up and shoot out or whatever you needed to. I'll open the gate up on it and we can look at the front of the cabin. We've got an outhouse and another little corn crib out back. And this cabin does not have any power at all in it. It's got the windows, the shutters. This cabin does not have actual glass windows. It's all shuttered. And the back porch, there's a well, and they dug a well just for demonstration and went down probably about 4 foot to give it the depth and actually hit water. So there's actually water in that well. This piece right here, you would tie your bell around your cow. Tie this, you'd have a harness or a collar around the cow, tie it to a long rope or whatever chain. And whenever your cow would get hung up on a tree, it could just wander free. It'd get hung up on a tree and it's ringing its bell trying to get loose. And that's when you could find your cow. That was more of the free range as we know it today. Here you can see some old handmade chain. We've got several 100 foot of this blacksmith handmade chain. These are, it took a long time to make that.
How did Dr. Hart have time to be a doctor and do all this?
I don't know. He did. Every day he was off work, he was over here. Sundays, he would go to church and leave straight church, come over here and start working. And he had a lot of help too. But he would come over on his lunch break from being a doctor and do an hour or two's worth of work and then drive back to Hickory to catch his afternoon appointments. So you can see the stand that you could stand up on and look out.
Now, did he find a property with this fence around it like this?
He got a logging crew out of the mountains.
I mean, was there actually one like this in the area?
In Sherrill's Ford, Adam Sherrill, I believe it is, they had a stockade around the Sherrill cabin when he forded the Catawba River to come into Sherrill's Ford. And I guess history books, he found the idea to do this for the stockade. Yep, but that's all locust. Locust will be around for a long time. It won't hardly rot. Hart cabin. Yeah, it's the Blackburn Hart Knoll cabin. We've got just a basic setup in this, and on our festival day, the Hartzog family actually come and they set up in here. They come in the week prior, clean the cabin, make sure everything's in working order, and we really appreciate that. They do a lot of good for us.
So ancestors from the family come.
Yep, we've got a lot of cabins that the family still comes and does. I'll show you this well here. This is pretty cool. We've got a well bucket in storage right now, but we'd take a hemp style rope, and this is how you dip water. You'd have a bucket on here, and you'd open this up. This is just a fake well cover, ain't nothing in it. And you'd dip it down in, it'd fill up with water, and the cantilever would just raise the bucket right out of the water. And that was an easy way, instead of a hand crank, that was an easy way of getting your water up to the surface. And right there are bee gums that are made out of a stump or a log that are hollow inside. And this is how they would do their bees. You can see down inside there that they've got just a standard rack that you would see today. But anyway, that's what there's your bee gums.
That says number 2 on that one.
Yep.
What building's number 1?
I think Hunsucker House, the original, I believe.
That's number 14.
Is it?
It is.
Well, I don't know what number 1 would be then. you stumped me. I don't know.
I looked at it, I thought it would have been number 1.
You would think so.
He didn't go by that order, did he?
No, he didn't. I figured he would have. We put a new cedar shake roof on the drum cabin 2 years ago. It's got a kitchen on the back side. I wouldn't consider this a summer kitchen or is this still connected to the cabin? I'll drive around to the front, and this is actually the drum post office. It is located on Highway 16, close to Highway 16 and 150 intersection, near Bandy's area. But the post office is through this door, and this would be a stagecoach stop. So inside there's a trap door right in front of the fireplace, and you know, if you saw that the stagecoach was going to be held up or somebody was coming in to get all your valuables, you could jump down in through the trap door and come through, and this door here opens, still operates, and you could, while they're going in the front door, you could be coming out the back and getting away with your valuables. So let me see.
So this was originally an actual post office?
Yeah, original post office. Now the stagecoach part of it, I'm not sure of that story, but that's what we demonstrate.
Right. Okay.
Demonstrated
that's something else.
Yeah.
Can't believe how many different type of buildings he put in here.
Oh yes. Yep. Let's see here. Got a doctor's buggy. That's the doctor's cabin, doctor's office, and so we've got a doctor's buggy right there. Here is the schoolhouse and the playground for the kids. So this is where the teacher would stay at. The Spiegel cabin, and it's real basic. Now, something to note on this cabin is it's got rock up to a certain point, and that might be all they could find in the area. So then it's got that might be locust or either a white oak, and got red clay in between, and that's a wooden chimney. And notice the pole right beside of it. If the fire would happen to catch the logs on fire, the actual chimney, they can take the pole, stick it in between the cabin and the chimney, and knock the chimney away from the house to keep the house from burning down. That and our Indian village is the only two that I know of that has a wooden log chimney.
Okay, so this is the grist mill down here we see, and so...
Yep. When the pond is full of water, the water will enter that pipe and come on down the flume, and that's when the water wheel starts turning. So we're coming up on the Walker covered bridge. It was built on site out of new material at the time, and it was built right here where we're driving on, and they had 2 cranes come in and set it in place. We will drive across it and you can see what it looks like on the inside, but it is rated for 18,000 pounds is what it was originally designed for. There's a little print right there, Glenn Walker in 1999. And, yep, load limit 18,000. And the little window, it's pretty neat to see up the little window across. Here's our Chapel of Peace church. Got a foot pump organ inside, a lot of pews, and it's a very nice church inside. This cabin is the Rhodes cabin. It's a 3-story structure. It's our only 3-story cabin that we have, and it's got actually 3 fireplaces or chimneys in it with, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fireplace openings. And it's got several outhouses, corn crib, smokehouse. That outhouse is a 3-hole outhouse. We've got a big barn here. We got a stump puller. You would use it as a mule-powered stump puller.
Lots of buggies. So some of these built here in North Carolina, you think?
Possibly. I'm not sure what kind of buggies those are, but yep. Different work shed, just different work sheds. There's some kind of barn, smokehouse. I think that might be a smokehouse. Here's our debtor cabin and the Wright cabin, and they both were put up here about 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago. So they're some of our most recent cabins. There.
And this is the learning center. We've not drove by that. Let people get an idea.
This is our education center. It's been in operation for about 2 years now. We have a lot of classes, school kids, different kind of arts classes, weddings, corporate events, just all kinds of stuff inside the building. We can see about 400 people inside, but that's a Sigmund Family Education Center.
So this is the maintenance area, I guess, where you keep all the building supplies and repair supplies.
Yep, a lot of our tools, nails, saws, any kind of item you need to fix a cabin or build one. We've got our shop with a lot of different kinds of period correct old tools that we still use every now and then, and a lot of power tools as well. We've got a tractor shed with some of our equipment, rakes and shovels, trailer load of lumber that we use to do repairs, and we just kind of house all of that up there and keep our tools locked up here in the shed. We've got a lot of that. We got this golf cart we're riding around on. This is my main maintenance golf cart. We got a lot of tools on it. Keep a lot of screws and nails and different things. So when you're out and see a step that's loose or a handrail that needs to be fixed, you don't have to go all the way back to the shop to get a screw or a nail. I've got a lot of that here and can just take care of it then.
Got your hammers right here.
Yep. Got all of that. We'll go over here and show you some of the logs that we have, replacement logs, some of the antique logs that have been salvaged, our wood hanger, and this is just a small amount of what we've got. We've got a lot of tin stored in different areas, and windows and doors. I bet we've got probably 30 doors, 30 or 40 different windows that we can do repairs on. A lot of windows get damaged by weather, and we end up having to put a new window in it. Well, it's an old window, but a new window to that spot. We got a hayride trailer we use. So inside the hangar, we've got an original stagecoach, and we've got a Wells Fargo shotgun that we actually put in here and display on festival day. And this is the jack that would jack up the maybe do some wheel repair. But this is, I think Bob bought this at an auction for $4,000, probably about 5 years ago. We've got a lot of repair items in here as well. A lot of different cabin stuff, you know, related things. So,
well, I guess this was Dr. Hart's car.
Yep, that was. Let's see here. Him and his wife Becky dated in this car, and they've had it ever since.
Really?
Yep.
How about that?
Yep.
Well, that's a story right there, ain't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure of the year. I forgot what year it was.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff to keep up with.
Yes, it is. A lot of repairs, a lot of maintenance, a lot of money to keep it up too.
Yeah, so I guess if anybody wants to donate and help support things, they can go to
our website. We've got a donation page, and we've got 3 or 4 cabins right now that are in desperate need of repair. So we've got a open campaign now for that. Try to raise money for those. So yeah, I've enjoyed it today.
Well, it's been fun. I'm sure glad that you found me and sent me an email and invited me to come over. It's been a great day, and we've made several videos today, so looking forward to getting them edited and online. And so if this is one of 3 that we have filmed today, so if this is just one of the videos, look for the other 2. They'll either be coming out or already been posted. And I'd like to thank everybody here that's welcoming us to come video.
Yep, we appreciate it.
We'll see y'all next time.
Thank you.